Good morning, students. Welcome to Hardcore 2 class. In the last class, we have studied about operon concept, and in this class, let us discuss unique and repetitive DNA, interrupted genes, and also gene families. So first, let us know about what is unique and repetitive DNA. So let us know some of the introduction regarding this topic. So the eukaryotic genomes contain large amount of repetitive sequences, sometimes present in hundreds, sometimes in thousands copies per genome. So in a single genome we can observe 100 to 1000 copies of these repetitive sequences. So the understanding of repetitive sequences is based on studies conducted on denaturation, that means separation of DNA double helix into its two component strands. So it is called as a denaturation, that is separation of double DNA helix, and renaturation, that is reassociation of single strand into stable double-stranded DNA molecules. And the two strands of DNA molecules are held together by a weak non-covalent bonds when DNA is warmed in saline solution. So when DNA is warmed in the saline solution, a temperature is reached when two strands begin to separate, leading to single-stranded molecule in solution. So this is called as a thermal denaturation or DNA melting. So here double-stranded is converted into single-stranded DNA, and the progression of thermal denaturation can be followed by observing increase in absorbance of dissolved DNA. The nitrogenous bases of DNA absorb ultraviolet radiation with an absorbance maximum near to 260 nanometer. In single-stranded DNA, the hydrophobic interaction caused by base stacking are increased, which increase the ability of the bases to absorb the ultraviolet radiation, and the temperature at which the shift in absorbance is completed is called as a melting temperature, and it is noted as Tm. So capital T and small m. The higher the GC content of the DNA, that is guanine and also cytosine content of the DNA, the higher the Tm, that is melting temperature. The reason being that there are 3 hydrogen bonds between the guanine and cytosine, which confers stability on the GC pair in comparison with the AT pair, that is adenine and thymine, and are joined by the 2 hydrogen bonds, that is GC is joined by 3 hydrogen bond, and AT pairs adenine and thymine, they are joined by the 2 hydrogen bonds. Thus AT rich sections of DNA melt before the GC rich. When denatured DNA is cooled slowly, the single strands reassociate to form double-stranded molecules, and properties of double helical DNA are restored, that it absorbs less ultraviolet light. So this is called as renaturation or reannealing. So when the DNA is going to cool down, single strands are reassociates to form a double strands. So this is called as renaturation or reannealing. As described later, the property of reannealing has led to the development of methodology called nucleic acid hybridization. So by this, the Britton and Courney in the year of 1967 studied renaturation kinetics of DNA and discovered the repeated sequences. So Walker in the year of 1969 distinguished three kinetic classes of DNA. So first one is fast reannealing fraction or highly repetitive DNA. Second one is intermediate reannealing fraction or highly repetitive DNA. Third one is intermediate reannealing fraction or moderately repetitious DNA. So by this, three kinetic classes of DNA are distinguished by Walker. So that is highly repetitious DNA. Next is the moderately repetitious DNA, and also the third one is a single copy fraction. So let us study one by one. So first one is the highly repeated DNA sequences. So these sequences are also called as reiterated or redundant DNA. So these are also called as a redundant DNA. Consists of sequences present in at least 1 million copies per genome, constitute about 10% of total DNA in the case of the vertebrates. So these highly repeated DNA sequence constitute about 10% of total DNA in a vertebrates. Such sequences are usually short, about a few hundred nucleotides long, and present in clusters in which the given sequence is repeated over and over again without interruption in tandem arrays. So these includes, that is highly repeated DNA sequence includes some of the DNAs, that is satellite DNA. So these satellite DNA consists of short sequences about 5 to 100 base pairs in length, and during density gradient centrifugation, satellite DNA separate into distinct band because the base composition of satellite DNA is different from that of bulk DNA. By this, there will be the separation, and a species may have more than one satellite sequence, as in Drosophila, which has 3 satellite sequences and each 7 nucleotides long. So these are the satellite DNA. So in the telomere region, centromere region and telomere region. So we are going to observe the satellite DNA. So that is also called as SAT-DNAs. And this satellite DNA is present around centromere in centromeric heterochromatin. In humans, 3 blocks of satellite DNA are present in secondary constructions of chromosomes 1, 9 and also 16. So next is the mini satellite DNA. So these usually occur in clusters with about 3000 repeats. So these mini satellites, they are going to occur in clusters, and the size ranging from 12 to 100 base pairs in a length. Mini satellite sequences occupy shorter stretches of genome than the satellite sequences. So this is the mini satellite DNA. The length of the mini satellite locus could vary within the same family and in the population, and changes in mini satellite sequence can affect expression of nearby genes. So third one is the micro satellite DNAs. So these include the shortest sequences 1 to 5 base pairs long. So in case of mini satellites, the base pairs range from 12 to 100, but in case of microsatellite, the base pair is from 1 to 5, and sometimes it's maybe 1 to 9, and present in cluster of about 50 to 100 base pairs in length. They are dispersed evenly throughout the DNA, and the human genome contains about 30,000 different microsatellite loci, and change in number of copies of certain microsatellite sequences are responsible for some inherited diseases. So second one is moderately repeated DNA sequences. So these are partially redundant. The sequences are highly similar but may not be identical, and this fraction includes sequences that are repeated within the genome from a few times to tens of thousands of times, and the genes for RNAs and histones are of this type, and they constitute 15% of DNA in mouse, and in 45% in xenopus, and also 80% in wheat, onion and salmon. So this is the denatured DNA, that is single stranded DNA, and they consist of moderately repeated DNA sequences, that is the color, that is blue color. These are going to represent the moderately repeated DNA sequences. And we are also going to observe the number of DNA fragments, that is the green colored is highly repeated DNA sequence, and their number is more compared to the moderately repeated sequence. And also third one, that is unique DNA sequence, they are very limited. So third one is a unique or single copy DNA sequence. These sequences are present only once in the genome. So in the diagram you are going to observe the unique DNA. So they are going to occur only once in the genome, or at most in few copies. So there are very limited copies. They have a slow rate of reassociation, and most of structural genes are found among the unique sequences, and mouse contain 70% and xenopus about 55% of single copy sequences. So next concept is interrupted genes. So interrupted genes, they are also called as a split genes. So till recently it was believed that coding sequence of DNA and amino acids of polypeptide is collinear, and the coding sequence are continuous, and codon for one amino acid is adjacent to the codon for the next amino acid. The open reading frame is the single stretch of codons without any gap. But now it has been discovered that coding sequence of most of eukaryotic genes is split into stretches of codons interrupted by stretches of non-coding sequence. So here we are going to observe the codons, and these codons are interrupted by non-coding sequences, and most human genes are discontinuous. So the coding sequences of DNA of the gene are called as exons. In between the exons there are intervening non-coding sequences called as introns. So coding sequence are called as exons. So these are the exons, these are the coding sequences, and in between the exons we are going to observe the non-coding sequence called as introns. This type of genes are called as a split genes or interrupted genes. They are most common in eukaryotes. They are also found in viruses but rare in case of a bacteria. And the terms exons and introns were given by Gilbert in the year of 1977, and it was discovered in amphibian, mammals and some other animals that genes are not represented by continuous sequence of nucleotides and introns are removed by excision and discarded. The next is a processing of mRNA. The size of introns and exons varies, and introns are usually much larger than the exons, and a typical exon consists of small number of nucleotides, where an intron may consist of thousands of nucleotides. So the number of nucleotides vary from exons to introns. That is, exon consists of small number of nucleotide, but the intron consists thousands of nucleotides. Moreover, the introns constitute large portion of the genome. So processing of mRNA includes RNA splicing. Splicing is generally performed by endonuclease enzyme. So endonuclease enzyme is responsible for splicing of a RNA and cleaving the introns at both ends. So here the introns are cleaved. Phosphodiester bond between sugar and phosphate at the junction between intron and exon is cleaved. The freed 5' end of intron joins the branch point sequence to form the lariat. So second one is spliceosome. Splicing is performed by a large complex called spliceosome. The spliceosome is made up of small nuclear ribonuclear proteins, also called as snRNP proteins and also called as SNRPs. These consist of RNAs which are rich in uracil and are of several types, that is U1, U2, U4, U5 and also U6, that is uracil 6, which are collectively called small nuclear RNAs or snRNA. So at first U1, that is uracil 1, small nuclear RNP, that is ribonuclear protein, recognize and break the 5' splice site of the intron and bring it closer to branch site. Then the complex of snRNP of U2, U4 and U5, U6 bind to the intron. The complex of snRNP and precursor mRNA of the intron is called as a spliceosome, that is snRNP and also precursor of mRNA. So they are going to constitute the spliceosome. The spliceosome is looped out. So in this case you are going to observe the looping. The spliceosome is going to looped out, and this loop of intron is called as lariat, which is discarded and degraded, and by this the exons on either side of the removed introns are brought closer and ligation seals them together. So as the intron is discarded, so the exon are going to ligate. So next is the self splicing. In some cases, especially group 1 introns, the intron itself folds and catalyzes its own splicing. So it is called as a self-splicing. Here, RNA of the intron function as an enzyme and behave like an endonuclease to splice off the intron. The RNA which acts as an enzyme is called as a ribozyme. So RNA which acts as an enzyme called as a ribozyme. There are splicing of intron sequences requires no other enzymes. The intron is released in a linear form which is subsequently degraded. So next is the alternate processing of mRNA. The primary transcript generally exhibits one pattern of RNA splicing to produce single type of mature mRNA. But in higher eukaryotes, pre-mRNA exhibit alternate or differential processing pattern to yield different mRNAs containing different exons which encode different proteins. One pre-mRNA after alternate splicing produce more than one type of mature mRNAs. So in that, first one is alternate splicing. Here a pre-mRNA has 5 exons. So in the first case, the pre-mRNA has a 5 exons. So in the diagram, you are going to observe the 5 exons, that is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. By alternate splicing, it produces 2 different kinds of mature mRNAs, both containing 4 exons. So here what is going to happen is, it is going to happen the alternate splicing. So this is the alternate splicing, and here we are going to get 2 different kinds of mature mRNA with 4 exons. One type of mRNA consists of exon 1, 2, 4 and 5, while the other consists of 1, 2, 3 and 5. So it is called as alternative splicing. The second one is the exon skipping. Here a pre-mRNA has 3 exons. Splicing process removes exon number 2. So here exon number 2 is going to spliced off, while exon 1 and 3 are fused and sealed in the mature mRNA. So here exon number 2 is going to removed and exon 1 and 3 are fused and sealed. So next is the intron retaining. Here a pre-mRNA has 3 exons and 2 introns. So here 3 exons and 2 introns are present. Splicing process removes the intron, while intron number A is retained in mature mRNA. It is possible to retain only a part of an intron, that is called as a part of intron is retained and is called as intron retaining. That is, splicing process is going to remove intron number B while intron number A is retained. So it is called as a intron retaining. So next concept is a gene families. While most of our prokaryotic genes are represented only once in the genome, some genes in eukaryotes are repeated many times in multiple copies. So the genes in eukaryotes are going to repeat many times in multiple copies, and these are called as a gene families. So here we are going to observe the multiple copies, that is gene X, and gene X, thus contributing to the large size of the genome. So these genomes are going to form a large size. In specific cases, multiple copies of gene are necessary to produce RNAs or proteins that are required in large quantities, such as ribosomal RNA and also histones. In other cases, distinct membrane of gene family may be transcribed in different tissues or at different stages of development. For instance, the alpha and beta subunit of hemoglobin are both encoded by gene families in human genome, but different members of these families are expressed in embryonic, fetal and adult tissues. Members of some gene families, such as the globin genes, are clustered within a region of DNA, while other gene families are dispersed on different chromosomes. These gene families are thought to have arisen by duplication of original ancestral gene. The different members of the family then diverged during evolution as a consequence of mutation. Such divergence can lead to the evolution of related proteins that can function in different tissues or at different stages of development. So when the mutation is going to takes place, there will be changes in the genes, that is gene X, gene X1, gene X2. So here protein structure and function is altered in case of gene X1 and X2. The fetal globins have a higher affinity for oxygen than adult globins, which allows the fetus to obtain oxygen from maternal circulation. However, not all mutations offer advantage in gene function. The mutation in some gene copies have resulted in their loss of ability to produce a functional gene product. And also, the human alpha and beta globin genes each contain two genes that have been inactivated by mutations. The non-functional gene copies are called pseudogenes, represent evolutionary relics which increase the size of eukaryotic genome without making a functional genetic contribution. So this is about the gene families, that is genes which are repeated many times to form a multiple copies. So by this we came to know about unique and repetitive sequences of DNA, and also split genes or interrupted genes, and that we came to know about the exons and introns, the splicing of introns, and also we came to know about the gene families. Thank you.